Welcome, good morning from the Jamaican Conference Center for this special media event, the closing ceremony of the media training, Media Save Life. For the importance of the media and the role in changing mindsets and disaster risk reduction, we really wanted to make this closing ceremony a part of the 7 regional platform for disaster risk reduction in the Americas and the Caribbean. So I'm giving you a welcome from the Jamaican Conference Center here in Kingston, as Jamaica is the host country of the 7 regional platform. Today with me, we have Raul Salazar, Chief of the Regional Office of the United Nations Office of Disaster Risk Reduction, UNDRR, Elizabeth Riley, Executive Director of CDIMA, Sonia Hill, Secretary General of the Caribbean Broadcasting Union, and Brigitte Leone, ex-colleagues of myself of UNDRR, who are all joining us today for this closing ceremony of the media training, Media Save Lives. We have seen that media journalists have been at the heart of the 7 regional platform. We had already free media trainings in the last days. We had a media training last week. We had attendance of average 60 media outlets from all over the region who are really committed to bring the message of disaster risk reduction to the population and support the advocacy in a strive for having a more resilient region. Without any further ado, I would like to welcome Raul Salazar for welcome remarks to this event.
Thank you, Saskia. Dear Elizabeth Riley, Executive Director of CDIMA, Mrs. Sonia Hill, the Caribbean Broadcasting Union Secretary General, dear friend Brigitte Leone, creator of the Worldwide Broadcasting Union project. Thank you to all the media that has joined us today during the Regional Platform 2021, and all the media outlets and journalists that play an important role in changing minds and shaping mindsets in all this endeavor or advancing in the agenda of disaster risk reduction. The press is critical in all this quest for passing the message over to citizens and to public domain that the many risks that we are facing today and the complexities that we have ahead in the future, as we are seeing now through the impacts of COVID-19. I would like to thank you all the media that has joined us during the platform, the media outlets and journalists, because in this process, we have a common task. And the common task has been highlighted by the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction in recognizing the vital role that the media plays, not only in saving lives, but also in helping debunking fake news, setting disaster risk reduction issues on the agenda, influencing policies, holding authorities and institutions accountable for failures in prevention, adequate planning or mitigation, and as we are seeing today, to disseminate all the expectatives, best practices, and all we can do to advance in the disaster risk reduction agenda. So far, the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction has carried out media training for journalists. There have been 4 media trainings, and 1 before the regional platform and 3 during the regional platform 2021. And the reason why we have been so active and proactive in reaching to the media is that we want to take this message with you to the public and to realize that through disaster risk reduction, we can ensure a sustainable development that is real sustainable and risk informed. We are taking now a very special attention on this special session where we celebrate the media achievements of over 145 trainees that have been in the context of the broadcast media in the Caribbean receiving this training. I want to thank the Worldwide Broadcast Union and the Caribbean Broadcast Union and the CIDIMA for their support as key partners in this joint endeavor. We also would like to take advantage of this great media celebration in announcing the creation of the Disaster Risk Reduction Media Network for the Americas and the Caribbean. So far, already 150 media have joined over the year in this initiative, and we all aim to foster better media coverage of disaster risk reduction in the future. Thank you very much for all your presence, for all your efforts and interest to become part of these quests in advancing disaster risk reduction for resilience towards 2030. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Raúl Salazar, for these opening remarks and for highlighting the key partnership with the Caribbean Broadcasting Union and with CIDIMA in this joint endeavor for making a more resilient region. As I said before, we had trainings in the last 3 days where actually we heard of an example, a successful example of a small TV show station from the island of Anguilla, where they survived the Hurricane Category 5 of Irma, and they were prepared to broadcast and give clear guidelines in the middle of the chaos that led to saving lives in the community. So this is one of the clear examples that was shared in the previous day in the media training. I would like now to welcome Elizabeth Riley for her feature address.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Mr. Raúl Salazar, Chief of the UNDRR Office for Latin America and the Caribbean, my friend Sonia Gill, who's the Secretary General of the Caribbean Broadcasting Union, and of course to Mrs. Brigitte Leone, creator of the Worldwide Broadcasting Union project. First, I want to say a very warm congratulations to all the successful course participants. I also wish to congratulate the UNDRR and the Worldwide Broadcasting Union for successfully delivering this course to the membership of the Caribbean Broadcasting Union and also for the launch of the media network. Thank you also to Ms. Sonia Gill for the partnership with CBU and for extending the opportunity to CIDIMA to share a few thoughts with you today. So I wish to share 3 quick messages. First is that the media is an integral part of our Caribbean comprehensive disaster management story. The architects of the agreement establishing the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, CIDIMA, understood this, when in 1991, they charged our agency to establish arrangements with regional media houses designed to ensure the dissemination of reliable information on national disasters to the public. Since its inception, CIDIMA has forged strong partnerships with the media, which culminated with the signing of an MOU with the Caribbean Broadcasting Union in 2016. Under this umbrella, we have jointly delivered courses through our Regional Training Center for Media Practitioners, established and funded the CIDIMA CBU Caribbean Broadcasting Award in coverage of disaster risk, collaborated on the delivery of the annual CIDIMA press conference, information sharing webinars, and participation in our biennial Caribbean Conference on Comprehensive Disaster Management. In efforts to provide timely and effective response, we've embedded media practitioners into our deployment teams to bring our Caribbean audiences firsthand accounts of the complex, concurrent, and cascading disasters which impact our region, as well as the story on how we as a region come together in collaboration with our partners under the umbrella of our unique regional response mechanism to support those in need. So remember, you don't just report the story, you are the story. Second, you have the power to choose the story that you tell, so choose wisely. As media practitioners, you have an awesome responsibility. A responsibility to the public, responsibility to your profession, and a responsibility to self. As a member of the public, I listen to you, and I am guided by what you say. This responsibility is even more daunting in today's realities of mis- and disinformation, fake news, aided and abetted by the lightning speed of social media. You have an important voice, as well as an important role in supporting national disaster offices and preparing populations before, during, and after events, and a responsibility to get that information out in a timely and accurate fashion. Lessons from successive events have taught us that the message has to be one that is easily understood by all, and sometimes tailored for different audiences to trigger what can be life-saving actions. But the choice extends beyond the sensationalism of destructive hazard events. Equally important is to tell the story of actions taken to reduce risk, stories of building codes and standards, mitigation works which reduce destructive flooding, and translating the climate scientist mantra of 1.5 to stay alive into plain English, so that the person next door understands the implications of climate change for next year's hurricane season and makes the linkage to why the taps are dried for 2 months. So flexibility is important. So be bold and don't be afraid to do things a bit differently. And third, in disaster management, the story is always about the people. It is the story of how we as a region displayed an unmatched level of regional solidarity as we headed into the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. It is a story of innovation as we pivoted to engage technology to find solutions to this very dynamic pandemic. It is the story of survival and recovery of the resilient people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines after the explosive eruption of La Soufrière in April 2021. It is also the story of human behavior and the complexities of behavioral science, which compel you as media practitioners to ask the question, why? Why do some take the decision to evacuate coastal settlements in the face of life-threatening storm surge and others don't? And when I understand that, how can I influence to deliver the change that we so need to see? And so I challenge you with these questions. How can I be more effective in supporting the national emergency management system in my country? What is the next story that I will choose to tell? I look forward to working with all of you in the future, and I wish you all a purposeful and rewarding career going forward. Congratulations again, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Elizabeth Riley, Executive Director of CDIMA. Thank you very much for those powerful words, highlighting the key role of media, the key role of partnership, and reminding us that we really have the power to choose the story. So I would like now to give the word to Brigitte Leoni. She is the creator of the Broadcasting Union project, and she is an ex-colleague of UNDR, to give us some brief information and background on the training that we are actually celebrating today with this closing ceremony. Welcome, Brigitte.
Many thanks for giving me the floor today and to invite me to this important session. I'm very pleased to tell you more about the World Broadcasting Union project and how media training can save lives. The project actually started end of 2019 after a meeting in Tokyo, Japan, between Mami Mizutori from UNDR and the heads of 5 world broadcasting unions, namely the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, ABU, the African Union of Broadcasters, AUB, the European Broadcasting Union, EBU, the Arab State Broadcasting Union, ASBU, and the Caribbean Broadcasting Union, CBU, who decided for the first time to work together to train 300 world broadcasters on disaster risk reduction issues over a period of 3 years. So the project had 3 main objectives. First, to increase the capacity of broadcast media organizations to deliver accurate and timely early warning messages before, during, and after disasters, and to continue transmitting when disasters happen. As you know that many broadcasters stopped sometimes to transmit, when hurricanes were striking. Second, to equip TV media outlets with the necessary knowledge about disaster risk reduction and to talk about tool and solution to better inform population at risk. And the third objective was really to encourage regional and inter-regional collaboration between newsrooms to cover disaster risk reduction issues and increase as well the production of educational disaster risk reduction contents to sensitize and to educate more audiences and especially those at risk. So to implement the initiative, UNDR was joined by 3 main UN organizations, WMO, ITU, and IOC UNESCO. Obviously, due to the COVID situation, the whole project faced some challenges and delays, but we are very happy to announce today that from January 2021, when it actually started, to April 2022, 22, we developed altogether a comprehensive DR training module that is available online, and it is also a main tool to train and inform broadcasters. We also organized 36 live training sessions, 10 in the Caribbean, because the first, CBU was the first actually to pilot the project. So we did 10 training there. We did 10 in Africa, 16 in Asia Pacific, reaching out a total of 46 TV organizations and some 675 media professionals. So the next phase, and also we did a third thing, which was actually to organize program exchanges like the one that is currently taking place now at the COP26 in Glasgow. So the next phase will start in a couple of weeks and conclude in March 2022. And during this period, we plan to train another 25 new broadcasting organizations. Before concluding, I would like to share with you a couple of lessons learned so far about this project, and I think it's very interesting. So we noticed that there is a huge demand from broadcasters to know more about disaster risk reduction, especially now with the climate emergency. There is also a huge demand from their audiences to know more about what they can do to be better prepared, against disasters. And there is also a huge need to better connect broadcasters and reporters with disaster risk reduction practitioners and decision makers to have more efficient early warning system in place and DR policies implemented. So also there is a huge value, and we've seen it, in having disaster risk reduction focal point within broadcasting company to ensure the continuity of transmission, to disseminate timely and accurate early warning messages, and to ensure a good quality of reporting. Last but not least, today we want to celebrate the first results and praise the CBU broadcasters who took the time to join the training, sometimes in difficult situations. Sometimes the internet connection was poor and they were also very busy and doing many, many things, especially with the hurricane season, but they were present, they did attend, and they learned they learned more about DRR. So the partnership with CBU is very strong, and we thank their new head, Sonia Gills, and their teams and all the partners in the project, as this is a unique project and a sustainable means to better inform and educate huge audiences on disaster risk reduction issues and obviously to save lives. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Brigitte, for giving this overview of the content and the process of the media training from the global level with the alliance with the World Broadcasting Union, and then to the specific work in the Caribbean, and also for telling us that there's a new phase and there's new materials and activities coming for the future. And also reminding that that training was planned in person before the COVID crisis. And then it had really to be adapted to an online environment, which was challenged. But as we have seen in this regional platform, is also an opportunity for more engagement and more participation. So thank you very much, Brigitte. Now I would like to give the floor to Sonia Hill, who is the Secretary General of the Caribbean Broadcasting Union, to go really to the heart of this ceremony today, which is highlighting all of the trainees and all of the participants. So the floor is yours, Sonia.
Thank you so much, Saskia, and warm greetings to Kingston, Jamaica, and to our virtual audience, and particularly warm greetings to the participants who have logged on to the conference so that they can be celebrated today. So I will move without any further ado to the reason why we're here, and giving you the names of those who participated in the training. Over to the first slide of names from KCN TV in Anguilla. Participants from that company were Carlton Pickering, Colwayne Pickering, Carl Thomas, and Rosanna Brown. Also from Anguilla, Radio Anguilla, we had participants Farrah Banks, Ivor Hodge, Keith Stonegraves, Kenville Richardson, Misha Richardson, and Felicia Hennis. Next, from the Bahamas, the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, known as ZNS, we had the following participants: Kaylisa DeVoe Isaacs, Crystal Knowles, Julian Anderson Roll, Altaviz Munnings, Darren Meadows, Tadana McKenzie, Neil Benjamin, Opal Roach, and Jason Sanders. Over to Barbados, and from the Government Information Service, we had the following participants: Yvette McLean, Sharon Austin Gill, Julie Carrington, Sheena Ford Craig, Esther Jones, Kathy Ann Husbands, Kathy Lashley, Shayla Murrell, Shanko Pyle, Julia Rawlins Bentham, Aisha Reed, and Jamal Weeks. Still in Barbados, on the next slide, you will see from the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation, Joel Ford, Andrew Green, and Tisha Hines. Moving now to our member in San Andres, Colombia, Telly Islas. The participants were Emiliana Bernard, Freddie Williams, Elsa Hooker Coroni, Thomas Jesse Martinez, Jason Palacios Sanchez, Hugo Diaz Mora, Luisa Narvaez Lopez, Patrick McKee Miller Livingston, Annie Zulene J. Newball. And we have on the next slide more members from Telly Islas who participated: Juliet Paula May Bryan, Tanisha Katiuska Brown Bent, Fermin Whitaker Llamas, Adrian Enrique Jares James, Leopoldo Penaloza Newball, Stephen Jose Carreño Vargas, Sergio Bent, Jessica Cifuentes, and Jessica McLean Inestrosa. Moving on now to Barbados again. From Starcom Network, the participants were Anthony Green, David Ellis, Ashley Wiltshire, Frank Griffith, Cassie Brown, Krista J. Paul, Michelle Brathwaite, Keith Goddard, Graham Vaughn, and David Howell and John Stout. Moving now to the Belize press office, we have Janelle Mencius, Dion Habet, and Miriam Longsworth. Over to the island of Grenada, the GIS there, the participants were Naritza Augustine, Sherry Ann Noel, Abigail McIntyre, Crystal Stewart, Rikisha St. Louis, Gary Stephen, and Chrisanne Mitchell. We move now to Guyana, and the participants from NCN Guyana were Niaz Suban, Wendy Hermanstein, Liron Brummel, Lee Glenn, Bharat Sukumar, Roderick Baird, Dawanti Montilal, Onika Jones, Tracy Romalo, and Kristen Josiah. And we have further participants from NCN, including, on the next slide, Odilyn Parker, Nakasia Logan, Samuel Sukandan, Risha Need, Ryan Abrams, Quincy Aline, Mark Watson, Anadia Holader. And moving on now to the Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica, we have participants Natasha Smith Hutchinson, Denise Curlew, Carol Francis, Gabriel Thompson, Georgia Houston Reed, Glendon Atkinson, Simone Absalom, Karen Brown, M. Riley, and Alicia Steele. Still in Jamaica, but from the RGR Gleaner Communications Group, the participants were Claire Grant, Hertha Beckman, Janella Precious, Kalisha Lawrence, Kimberly Broderick, Keon Vaz, Kay Ann Small, and Keisha O'Mealy. Over to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. From NBC Radio, the participants were Dion John, Rennie King, Harriet Boucher, Jared Roberts, Colvin Harry, Juditha Cato, Leslie DeBeek. Apologies. In Trinidad and Tobago, from CCN TV6 and from GEM Radio 5, the participants were Richard Purcell, Christopher Graves, Candy Hill Frederick, Sigoni Mohammed, Emmanuel Nunez, Raul de Souza, Cindy Ragubar, Sharice Mui, and Ronald Singh. And from Mersu, also in Trinidad and Tobago, Mersu Caribbean Consulting, Suzette Baptiste and Joseph Atza. And finally, from Suriname, Carla Botius, Rosita Liflang, Rovelino Joan Taxen, Ronnie Diasmad, Michelle McNackle, and Astrid White. I want to say a very warm congratulations to each and every one of the participants from all of the CBU members. Congratulations and thank you, my apologies, for your participation.
Thank you very much, Sonia Hill, for highlighting all of the name of the participants. Thank you very much for the participants to this training. I hope this has been something very useful for you and your work. And we really wish that this is just a start of a long-term relationship to keep strengthening the capacity of the media and this real commitment to make story, because we are the ones, you are actually, the media are the ones who choose what story and the power of it. So really, thank you very much for highlighting this. I would like now to give Raul Salazar the floor to something that we are very excited about, and we wanted to use the 7 regional platform to make this announcement. So I would welcome Raul Salazar, Chief of the Regional Office of UNDRR.
Thank you, Saskia. Yes, as indicated at the beginning of my intervention, also this celebration of the regional platform and the congratulations to all the participants in this training course. We would like to round this initiative with the launching of the Disaster Reduction Media Network of the for the Americas and the Caribbean. This initiative is a step that will allow us to share with you in a permanent manner in a group that is permanently in contact all the information related to all the news that are worth to be disseminated in terms of how the region is advancing in disaster reduction, the best practices, also to serve to invite you to more trainings, to get in touch among yourself in the process of advancing with this agenda, and also for supporting all the efforts, not only from the UNDRR, from all different partners that are part of the engagement that entails the Sendai Framework for Disaster Reduction, to cover the events, disseminate the news, disseminate the ideas, and as was mentioned at the beginning, and as Liz said, you choose the news, then it's on you in many occasions to shape the events and sensitize the region on the importance of advancing towards a sustainable development informed by risk and being less affected by disasters in the future. Thank you very much. Thank you to all of you. Thank you, Saskia and colleagues, for putting all this event together, and the trainers for for the journalists that participated in the training for joining us today. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Raul, for launching the DRR Media Network for the Americas and the Caribbean. We are really looking forward to working together, as Raul highlighted. Now, as just final, I would first of all invite you at the end of this event to go to the press conference that is already starting. This is the final press conference of the 7th Regional Platform for DRR in the Americas and the Caribbean. And finally, I would like to request the video. We have a very nice video that is sharing the experience of one of the trainee to the CBU training Media Save Lives. With this, when giving my final remarks, I would thank you, Sonia Hill, thank you, Brigitte Leoni, thank you, Raul Salazar, and Elizabeth Riley for joining us today. So with the video, that would be the closing of the ceremony.
Thank you.
Master of Ceremonies, Ms. Saskia Carusi, External Relations Officer, UN Disaster Risk Reduction Regional Office for the Americas and the Caribbean, Mr. Raul Salazar, Chief of the UN DRR Regional Office for the Americas and the Caribbean, Ms. Elizabeth Riley, Executive Director, Caribbean Disaster and Emergency Management Agency, CDEMA, Ms. Brigitte Leoni, formerly of the UNDRR, and one of the key coordinators of this training, CBU Secretary General, Ms. Sonia Gill, CBU member, media executives, and other personnel who participated in the training, other observers and guests. I greet you with pleasure on behalf of the board and membership of the Caribbean Broadcasting Union in offering this message as we celebrate trainees' achievement in successfully completing the recent disaster risk reduction training for Caribbean media professionals. We are particularly grateful for this ceremony and that it has been accommodated as part of the RP21 activities. It's an excellent example of the depth and breadth of the partnership between the UNDRR Latin America and Caribbean Office and the media of our region. We were particularly grateful for the support of the Caribbean Disaster and Emergency Management Agency, CDEMA. Even before we signed an MOU with CDEMA in 2016 at our assembly in Cuba, the collaboration and mutual support have been strong. As we've already learned, this training was of great interest to CBU members, which is why 16 organizations from 11 countries sent scores of participants. In total, 141 media professionals were eligible for certificates. These professionals may have been gaining new knowledge theoretically, but practically, they all are familiar with the real-world ramifications of disaster. Our Caribbean countries and territories are vulnerable to multiple forms of hazard, especially natural events such as volcanoes, earthquakes, and hurricanes. And as we all appreciate, over the past 20 months, man-made hazards also pose a risk. We therefore extend extreme appreciation to the funders and coordinators of this training, the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, and our umbrella body, the World Broadcasting Unions. Armed with this additional knowledge, our CBU members have greater capacity to sensitize audience, delve deeper into causes, and respond in times of disaster. May I end by extending sincere thanks to all who make this training possible and charge you, the trainees, to use this as an opportunity to continue to soar and serve the people of our beloved Caribbean. I thank you.
Thank you.